you all for joining today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about training, collaboration, and education, and how HP is, I can't walk away from the stage, I see that now, how HP is helping to partner in this space. There's a number of things that have happened in the last few years. It's been a very interesting couple of years for virtual reality. I have the pleasure of speaking with customers from around the globe, really, and working closely with them on their initiatives, whether that is to bring high-end compute into their environment or to bring more immersive solutions into their environment. And I've noticed that there's a continuum that I've created that's helped customers kind of get through some of these barriers. So you either find yourself in one of two places on this continuum. You might be new to XR, or you might be well into XR and looking for ways to scale it within your organization. So no matter whether you're a publicly traded company, whether you're a commercial company, a public sector company, government, enterprise, or even academic institution, you've probably been through this journey with your solutions. And so starting on the left-hand side, I always recommend customers to find ways to find the right partners, get the right stakeholders, and secure the correct funding. Next, it's best to look at solutions and workflows. What do you actually want to bring into some type of immersive environment? What do you actually expect to gain? What is augmenting your workflow with some type of solution? How does it actually benefit you? Where are those benefits for employees and for staff? And then lastly, on the left side, again, this is if you're new to XR solutions, this is looking at success factors. So you have to factor in usage. You have to factor in how are you actually deploying this technology? Is there friction within your deployment? Is it something that people are going to use? Is it something that people are going to shy away from? And so that's best to look at staff, best to look at any stakeholders that are engaged in that as well. And what brings me to the middle and the bottom part of this continuum right around here is where I found a lot of customers in the last couple of years. They were here for a number of reasons. Maybe they started in some type of immersive deployment within either their campus or somewhere in their organization, and then they found themselves stuck in the middle of a pandemic. They found themselves closing their labs. They found themselves not doing things the way they used to. And a year goes by, 8 months goes by, then they find themselves looking for ways to start that up again. So if you're new to XR, it's real easy. Stick to the left side of the slide. If you're already deployed, if you already have a handful of different headsets, you find yourself kind of in the middle here, working your way to the right. So if you're in the middle, honestly, the best thing to do is find the right fit and network at events like this to do it. So if you're here today, if you're part of the HP session, or if you're going to the expo tomorrow, stop at all the booths. Definitely stop at HP's booth, but definitely make sure that you're understanding all the resources that are out there for you. And as you start to move up to the right in this continuum, you might have some type of immersive technology somewhere in your environment, somewhere in your workflow. That's where I find people have lots of different devices. I'll get on the phone with a customer and I'll say, what devices do you have today? And they just have a little bit of everything. And that's pretty common. It's not uncommon that they would be completely standardized, but having a little bit of everything is not such a bad thing. It gives you a chance to try different things, try what works, try what doesn't, and find those friction points with different sets of technology. And as you start to move up and to the right, you start to get into two really important factors. The first one is ROI. Obviously, you've got to make sure that you've got an ROI, you're hitting some kind of financial break-even point, but maybe more than that, also a focus on just how you're going to use it. What is the return on investment? Are you using this technology internally? Are you using it externally? Are you using it, do you sell products? Are you using it in a sales cycle? That's pretty important. I know personally I try to do that as much as I can. We've got solutions that I'll speak to later where we try to bring that into play. And then I think everyone ultimately wants to get up and to the right on this continuum, and that is a full-scale deployment. I've found that is happening, and it's best done with you either kind of pick one. You either have developers in-house, or you've decided we're going to go outside. We're going to find someone who can develop a completely virtual world for us. Fortunately, at HP, we bring solutions to the table for everybody, no matter where you are, no matter what device you have. So you might be looking at HP's ExtendXR solution for Android types of devices or anything with an ARM-based chipset. That's a great solution for managing your headsets. It's great for deploying apps remotely. And it's great for just controlling that complete experience inside the headset. We recently launched that. You can check that out in our booth number 421. That product's available. And quick show of hands, actually. Who here has tried a Reverb G2? Okay. Excellent. There's some very important people in this room from HP, so let's do that now. Who's going to stop by the booth tomorrow and try the Reverb G2? Okay, excellent, thank you. Check out the Reverb G2. This headset, it kind of is my favorite. It's my go-to. I keep coming back to it because of the clarity. There's a couple things about this headset that were designed into it when we created it, and I'll get into the details on that. But audio, ergonomics, comfort, incredibly powerful when you're trying to really get into something and be immersive. And then, of course, we have the world's most intelligent headset on the far right. That's the Reverb G2 Omnicept Edition. It's the only headset that's bringing together eye tracking, heart rate sensor, face camera, and of course, we've got a developer's SDK, so you can take advantage of those solutions and grab whatever sensors you'd like off of them. But we don't stop there. HP is a very large company. Obviously, we're into more than just immersive technology. We've got really high-end workstations that help power these experiences, whether you're doing development or experiencing VR. And we've got mobiles, desktops, monitors, everything you could possibly need to bring your solutions into your environment. Another thing that's not listed on here that's a great solution is our remote graphics solution, now called HP Anywhere. That's a fabulous tool for just tapping into a remote workstation. Let's say you've got a workstation that you left at the office and you want to finish a project and you want to go home and work on it from your all-in-one computer. You're able to do that with solutions that we're bringing to the table. Let's talk a little bit about HP XtendXR. HP XtendXR was developed based on the need for better manageability of headsets. It's a pretty simple solution, easy as 1, 2, 3. You can manage those headsets simply and securely, deploy apps remotely, and control the entire experience inside the headset. I've talked to countless organizations and lots of academic institutions, actually, who have begged for something similar to this because there's just lots of content out there that, especially if you're in an education environment, may not be appropriate depending on the age group of students that are out there, and you can lock these headsets down. That's one of the best features about it. One of the most praised features I've heard from customers who are using it today is that they can put one application on the headset, or they can put a handful of applications on the headset with multi-app launcher mode. So your ability to completely control that experience is what makes our HP XtendXR solution simply the best in the industry today. So this is your opportunity really to level up your virtual reality for your business, again, with simplified device management, scalable solutions, and security. Security in the XR space has been a topic that keeps coming up. And it's one that, where's your data? Where is it? Where are your applications? You go through all this effort to create them. You work with developers. Is it giving you what you want? And is it secure? All of our XtendXR solutions are housed on HP's secure cloud infrastructure. That's the same cloud that we use to manage our business. So we take security extremely seriously, and we do with this solution as well. Currently, we support these headsets. So HTC Vive Focus 3, the Pico Neo family, as well as the Pico Neo G2 and Pico G2 4K. So we're always on the market for evolving technology. We're always looking at what's out there. This industry, as you know, you probably know, is moving extremely fast. But today we're supporting this family of headsets, and you can swing by our booth and check out content on them, as well as how to move apps on and off. But we don't stop there. Our Reverb G2 that everyone's going to go check out, right? Our Reverb G2 and our Omnicept Edition headsets will also be in the booth. These are best in class when it comes to complete immersion. So one of my favorite features of the Reverb and of the Omnicept Edition is not only the clarity, but also the amount of coverage on the gasket. So one thing I notice when I put on other headsets, when I put in different standalone devices, I get a lot of light leak. And I don't know if it's the shape of my face. I don't know if other people experience this, but in a Reverb G2, I'd encourage you in our booth, put one on that's connected to a computer, but also put one on that's not, and see how dark it gets inside those lenses without the lenses even being on. That's the difference between complete immersion and a little bit of immersion. So avoiding that light leak is one of those things that Reverb G2 does a great job of doing. And obviously, the Omnicept Edition brings all those great features. Fundamentally, they're the same headset. You've got the same lenses, the same audio. The audio sits off of your ear. But the Omnicept Edition brings the eye tracking, pupillometry sensors, and a face camera, as well as our developer's SDK. So taking a little bit of a deeper dive on these two headsets, Reverb G2 and Omnicept Edition, to talk about how we develop them. We looked at lens technology, and we wanted to have the absolute best in the business. And so we did. We partnered with Valve. We got a very, very bright display, and that's what's powering the clarity when you're inside a Reverb G2. Another very important feature has been our audio. So the audio sits off of your ear by about 10 millimeters. That's a great way to experience audio. It's actually not touching your skin in any way. It's just like speakers sitting off of your face. It's extremely comfortable. Our controllers were recently designed, and in fact, in the fall of 2021, we took it a step further and redesigned some other features of this headset to improve the tracking vertically. So we have a lot of customers who make training applications. I'll speak to some of those now. And when you're in VR, you put your hands, I'm going to step to the side here, but you put your hands down here. And to avoid losing tracking, you can make some improvements, which we did make to the headset, so that when you put your hands down at your waist, your hand doesn't fall onto the floor. So we're seeing a lot of really good positive feedback on that. And then lastly, ergonomics. We have a whole design team that helped bring this headset to market. And ergonomics is key. I mentioned the light leak. That's probably one of my favorite features of the headset, is being able to put it on and having very minimum light leak, but also comfort. So we've designed it so that the way it sits across the back of your head has been improved generation over generation. And I've personally, it's designed for long-wearing comfort. I've personally worn this headset for 5.5 hours straight. I'm not going to recommend you go do that unless you're really, really doing something cool. I was working a virtual event last year that was a virtual trade show and a keynote, all these different things in VR, and I had the opportunity to wear it for 5.5 hours, and it did not get uncomfortable. My eyes did a little bit. I got tired. Maybe I'm just getting old, but the headset itself did everything I expected it to do, and it was extremely comfortable. So real quick, our Omnicept edition, I want to just also touch on the fact that it's more than just a single headset. It is a complete ecosystem. So we've developed this headset to be, a headset that can track your heart rate, it can track your pupillometry where you're looking, and it can also track muscle movement in around your nose and mouth. But we've also got the SDK. So the SDK is available for free. You can download it. And with that SDK, you're able to then take that sensor technology and write it into whatever program you want, do whatever you want with it. But on top of that, we also have a network of ISVs that are developing applications that take advantage of this technology off the shelf. So we've got a couple, again, that I'll speak to here in a moment, and as well as in the booth. So that's what we've been seeing here at HP. It's been a bit of an evolving landscape over the last few years. But if you've got the need to connect, create, collaborate, or learn, partnering with HP can help you through that evolving landscape. And next I want to talk about immersive collaboration. This is something I'm extremely passionate about. We've partnered with Glue. Glue is one of our ISV partners. They make a fantastic solution. One of the best features about that solution is it helps you create a more engaging experience. It's a collaboration app that also has features that enable you to pull content, pull different documents in. You can access web. I'll stream video. I'll bring customers into virtual reality and stream video, or pull up web pages and show products to them. But one of the things that I love most about this tool is that it's cross-platform. So if they're on their desktop, if they're in their all-in-one headset, if they're on their Reverb G2, like you're all going to be later today or tomorrow when we open the booth, it's extremely versatile. And that's one of the success factors that goes back to that continuum, is how do you bring this technology to an enterprise company in a way where they're going to use it all? You have to make it seamless. And so finding applications like Glue that can do that can work across platform, is key. And HP can help you with solutions from PC VR all the way through to your Android-based VR standalone devices. And a great piece of advice that I've seen customers do over and over again is just provides a little bit of access to smaller teams to kind of get them started and really track what's working, what's not working in your organization. Of course, if you want the best-in-class visual comfort, Reverb G2 is where it's at. But you can also get a great experience with HP Extend XR for those deployments where you do see that you have cross-platform needs. Ways that we see people improving, training is really just finding ways to create that engagement. And two partners come to mind when I think of training. First is Ovation. Second is Mimbus. Mimbus has got a whole handful of solutions, and again, they'll be available in our booth if you want to check out what they're doing with Omnicept and how they're taking advantage of an Omnicept headset and some of that sensor technology. But they focus on skills training, jobs training. So finding partners, finding developers who can do that for you is key. Focus on a particular area, let the experts come in and do what they're good at. And Ovation is fantastic for public speaking, anyone who wants to better understand how to do a better job in front of a podium like this. Great application. The addition of eye tracking has been extremely helpful for that, because not only can you then understand where is someone looking in the room, the alternative to eye tracking is head tracking, which a VR headset can typically do, but you can't really get good coverage of a room just by tracking someone's head. You've got to take it a step further. And in the education space, whoops. Well, we've dropped a slide here, but I do also want to speak briefly to HP's education. In education, we have a number of solutions where we've partnered with folks like Intel and Educause to bring better experiences as well as modules into campus. We've got a number of participants in what we call our community of practice. I personally participate in that. And that's where we bring in institutions, we sit them down, we share best practices with them, and I personally dial in about once a month and give them updates on our products and solutions and what applications are available. And then lastly, we also have our HP Grant Support Program. That is where HP actually sits down free of charge and helps you secure funding for your initiatives. So if you're in the academic space, we'll get some links out available, as the slide is missing, but there's great options out there for getting help, consulting services, or even step-by-step ways that you can learn how to secure grants and secure funding. So that's just part of what HP brings to the table to educators. And there's other partnerships as well. So our goal really is partnering to change the world. I've got a video that I'm going to play here that speaks to a couple of those instances in the healthcare space. So let's go ahead and roll that tape. Should be some audio with that. Did you guys get the audio sorted out? Okay. Sure. Yeah, I'll go ahead and narrate. I believe we're now on Periop Sim, which will also be available in the booth tomorrow to check out. Great training app. Next is Immersive Touch. This is one of our partners who's developed brand new ways to kind of look at different medical scans. So I think traditionally when you're looking at scans, you're in some type of medical imaging room. And this lets you bring in multiple CT, MRI types of and CAT scans into virtual reality instead of just one scan at a time and using a medical lab. So doctors can have a VR headset inside their office without having to make access to something like, a medical imaging room, which is often expensive, crowded, that sort of thing. So here, Virtual Leap is looking at different ways to improve cognitive abilities and cognitive functioning. And so they've developed an application that's sort of like a game that's puzzles and different things that helps you improve your memory. So not just detect, but improve your memory, sort of like a virtual reality Sudoku that makes you a little bit smarter and builds that cognition. Here, HP's partnered with Cedars-Sinai. They are looking at different ways to use the Omnicept headset to help patients undergoing any kind of chronic pain or different treatments. to help them understand, too, how they can drop into a meditative state. So that's something that our headset can do through tracking your pupillometry. So you could put someone in a Reverb G2 Omnicept Edition headset, put them in an experience much like this, and watch their cognitive load go down and watch them drop into that meditative state, and then be able to pull out of that and see it. That's the big thing, is actually going back and showing patients, here's how and when you dropped into that meditative state, and here's you coming out of it, right? So a really good example with that would be, you could put someone in an Omnicept headset, put them through a simulation, get their cognitive load down, and then slam your hand down on a desk or something to startle them. Not that that would be a very friendly thing to do, but you can do that, and then you can see that you're breaking that immersion, you're breaking that cognitive load. So a couple other areas where we are partnering. So HP, again, our workstations team has an entire ISV team dedicated to certifying that our headsets work with various solutions. So you probably recognize some of the logos on here, things like Autodesk, Gravity Sketch, Rockwell Automation, Dassault Systems, Siemens SimCenter, and then the big ones here, obviously, Unity and Unreal. So if you're a developer or you're using Unity or you're using Unreal, we have plugins and drivers that work directly with those. So our Reverb G2 headsets are certified to run on these apps. But we don't stop there. We have partnerships. I manage the North America division, and we have counterparts around the globe. So folks like me who are working to bring these partnerships in. These are just a handful of them. So we've got Glue and Nimbus, which we spoke to today, and others from around the globe, as well as some here based out of North America, like PixoVR, Mindesk, PeriOpSim Innovation, as well as Victory XR. So just a couple of call-outs. And Immersive Touch, you saw the video of them as well. So with that, I want to say thank you all so very much for being here. Sorry for the audio issues there, but I think those videos are available on YouTube if you'd like to watch them again. I believe we're going to open it up to some Q&A now, and anyone have any questions?
We have about 5 minutes for Q&A, so if anybody has questions, just raise your hand and I'll run over with the mic.
Up front here.
Sorry. Sorry, who had the question? Oh, thank you.
Thanks. So thank you for sharing all the vast, different experiences within HP. From your perspective, what do you think the most promising thing is 5 years from now in terms of training and the possibilities? I mean, you're doing some interesting things with eye tracking and some physiologic measurements, but is there something, forget about HP per se, but just in your visage of all the different things that are going on?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd say adoption is probably going to drive more and more use cases. So the more and more organizations of all different segments start to adopt this technology, I think the more that those use cases will emerge, right? So right now we're looking a lot of times at, especially if you're looking at some of our PCVR solutions, you're looking at something that's very high risk, somewhat stationary, right? You need to be in a room that has electricity. You're not outside. You're not, in a simulation. So I think further adoption will drive more of those technologies that are out there to be more commoditized, getting them cheaper, and helping us develop that into future products. So hope that answers your question. Right here?
Yeah. I have a lab full of G2s, and they're great, so you can use me as a reference. But one thing I would love to know is if there's any possibility of decoupling Windows Mixed Reality from the G2. Like, it's not as well supported as I'd like from Microsoft, so it'd be great if we could just get it as just a regular driver.
Yeah.
So just a request, or if just anybody's brought that up to you before.
Yeah, excellent feedback. No, we have partnered with Microsoft in the development of the product, so we leverage them for tracking. So we're using their 6DoF freedom. So at this time, nothing, but would love to learn more about your lab and how you're using the reverbs. So please let me know who you are and how we can partner. Any other questions? I have one. What was the HP booth number again? 421. We'll see you there.